that is important in fertilization is the fusion of the male and female gametes. Okay.
Okay.
And gametes are what? Like gametes are basically those cells that will be participating in reproduction, and the fusion, and because of the fusion of those two cells, a new
So gametes are male sperm and female sperm, right?
no, the female body does not produce sperm. They produce ovum. Okay, na?
Okay.
See, in the case of the humans, what happens now? When a child reaches the age of puberty, when they have reached the age of 12 years, 30 years, 14 years, so their reproductive organ starts to mature. It starts to develop. Okay, na? And they
Okay.
they start the production of, like in the case of the girls, menstruation begins by the age of the
Yeah.
puberty. In the case of the boys, what happens? Like in menstruation, what is happening? The release of the ovum takes place in the menstruation. Along with that, when the egg is not fertilized, so the bleeding occurs. Okay, the thick lining of the uterus, it sheds when fertilization of the ovum does not take place. At the same time, contrary to the female, in the case of the boys, what happens? The testis, which is present in their male reproductive organ, it starts producing sperm. Okay, na? All of this
Okay.
starts takes place when the children would reach the age of puberty. So in the case of the boys, the sperm that is released, and in the case of the girls, the ovum that is released. Okay,
Okay.
so during the time of fertilization, these two cells would be fusing together. Once they fuse together, after fusing, what happens? The zygote forms. Okay, zygote forms, and zygote further continues to multiply. It develops into embryo, then it develops into fetus. Okay, so same, the gamete cells which we have discussed, the gamete cells are produced by the plants also, and here also it's sperm and the ovum. And where the sperm, basically the gamete cell of the plant will be present, it will be present in the pollen grain now, right?
Yes.
And as for the ovum, it will be present inside the ovary. Yes, Rizan, how are you? Alhamdulillah. Okay, your voice is coming very low, by the way. I'm going to revise this topic once again for all of you, okay, now? Because I observed that you guys are having difficulty in this. So the first step of first step of fertilization will begin by, the first thing will be pollination, getting it?
Okay.
It will start by pollination. Okay, let us discuss. Both of you guys turn your cameras on in the class. So first, what is going to happen in the case of fertilization? Step one, Rizan, we are revisiting the concept of fertilization in plants. Okay, now, so you also continue from here. So step one is pollination. We are not going to into the detail of pollination because we have already learned that pollination is the transfer of the pollen grain from the anther of the plant, anther of the flower, to the stigma of the flower, right? Pollen grain
Yes.
from the anther goes to the stigma. That is what pollination is, and it can occur through wind. It can occur through certain animals, wind.
Yeah, like birds,
Mhm.
yeah, flies, crickets.
Exactly. After pollination, what happens in step number 2? We can call this as step 2. So here, what will happen? Once the pollen grain would land on the stigma, once the pollen grain will land on the stigma, thereby it will start absorbing nutrition from the stigma. It will absorb water and nutrients from the stigma, thereby germination of the pollen grain will take place. So step number 2 was germination of pollen grain. Got this so far? Now step number 3 involves the formation of the pollen tube. The pollen tube will start to form, as you guys can see here. So tube is kind of the it's kind of a tube-like structure that is forming into this tile, and via this pollen tube, the pollen grain carrying the sperm cells will go inside the ovary. Getting it, guys? So the step number 3 is the pollen tube formation.
So can you say what's pollen tube formation again?
Yeah, pollen tube formation is basically it's kind of a pipeline that is formed, kind of a tube-like structure that is formed here. Okay, now like how else is the pollen grain supposed to enter inside the ovary? There has to be a pathway, no? Isn't it?
Yes.
So pollen tube is providing the pathway to the pollen grain to travel inside the ovary. Okay, that is the step number 3 which has happened here. After this, what will happen here? As it will step in step number 4, as the pollen grain will go inside the ovary, there it will fertilize with the ovum. So there fertilization takes place, where what is happening here? Pollen grain containing the male gamete. What is the male gamete? It is the sperm, no? So pollen grain containing sperms fertilizes the ovum. Where is the ovum present? It's present inside the ovary, no?
Ovary.
Right? So fertilization is taking place here. After fertilization, what is going to happen? After fertilization, the zygote formation will take place, right? So
Yes.
zygote forms, and the zygote is not going to remain of the same size, na? It will increase in size. Number of cells in the zygote will increase further, right now. So the zygote will now further develop into an embryo. Okay, it will now develop into the embryo. So zygote forms and develops into embryo. So far, it should be clear. Okay. Further, talking about the ovary, what happens to the ovary? Right now, what we have learned here, the fusion of the ovum and the sperm has taken place, and as a result, zygote has formed. What about the ovary? The ovary, this structure. What about this complete structure? So this will be converting into the fruit. Got this, everyone? Kindly let me know if you're not getting it. Converts into fruit. Fatima, you're not getting it, huh?
No, sir, I'm getting it.
Hmm. So it converts into the fruit. What about the ovule? So ovule will develop into the seeds. Getting it, guys? You guys understand now ovules? What are ovules? They are basically the part of the female reproductive organ. Right now, basically they later on convert into the seed. So while you are eating a fruit now, so inside the fruit, whatever seed is, whether it is the mango plant or mango fruit, whether it is papaya, the seeds present inside that fruit once it was ovule. Got this now? So the ovule present inside the flower, it converts into this. The ovule is not properly visible in this diagram now. Thereby, you guys might not be able to grasp this concept. Give me a minute. I will be sharing an image of this. Okay. I will be resharing my screen. Actually, I tried to find a relevant image of ovule, but I couldn't find it earlier. By the way, in the school, what is going on?
Sir, me?
Yeah, both of you tell me. Yes, Fatima, you tell me.
Sir, transportation in animals and plants. I think reproduction in plants will start on Sunday.
It will start on Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. Because
Okay. And as for you, what about you? Rizwan?
Class, it's going on reproduction in plants too, but in this full week, we have vacation.
Vacation is started.
Yeah, like for 2 weeks.
Okay, for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Acha, acha, okay. See this image over here. So take a look at this structure, this one, that is the ovary. Okay, this structure is the ovary here. Now take a look at this one over here. This is where the ovule is present inside. Okay, now this is where the ovule is present. Getting it, everyone? Let me zoom it out
Yes,
if it
sir.
is not visible properly.
Yes, sir.
So via this pollen tube, what has happened? Via the pollen tube, the pollen grain enters inside the ovary. It enters inside this whole structure. Okay. As it goes inside the ovary, so the ovum that is present over here, it will be fertilizing the ovum. It will be fusing with the ovum. So ovum, sperm plus ovum converts into zygote. Okay. Further, what happens after fertilization? What about the ovary? So this structure that we are seeing here, the ovary will later on convert into the fruit, that is the edible part. And what about the ovule over here? This portion, let me color it. This portion, that is the ovule. So ovule will convert into the
Seed.
seeds.
See.
Exactly. Correct it. So these are the steps of the fertilization in plants. Okay, now. So the last step number 5, we will see that it will be development
Sir, are we
of.
supposed to write this?
I will be now putting the screenshot. Okay, now.
Okay.
Also, see, you guys can improvise the notes yourself. What I mean to say that I, you guys would have noticed that I write the bullet points. Okay, now. Like in pollination, I have just written the term pollination. I have not explained this. Okay, now, but I have explained this orally. Verbally, I have explained this in the class now. So while making the notes, you guys can write a short note on pollination yourself. I suppose you guys would be able to do this one yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no. Also, an important point to be noted down here. Okay. So today we will be learning about seed dispersal. I have shared the screenshot. Okay.
Sir, we have already started like in last year.
Yeah, we already started, but not in that much of depth. We have learned this concept. Okay. Basically, what we learned in the previous class, that it's the process via which seed will be spread from one parent, one location to another location. Okay. Now, basically, it will be going from the parent plant to different locations, and it will be carried out by the help of some animals, by some of help of some with the help of a wind, water, etc. So especially we'll be taking a look at some of the special cases here. For example, this dandelion, this maple leaf. huh? So they are very lightweight. They are very light, they are fluffy, and they have wings. Like this one has wings. Okay, now also called as maple leaf. Because of its unique shape, it is called as maple leaf. So because of their unique characteristics, like they're light, they are fluffy, they have wings, they will easily be carried by the wind from one place to another. So as the wind will be blowing, so they will be scattered over a wide area. Okay. So this is advantageous in such a manner, like it will be helping in the growth of that plant in different places. If these seeds were to be very heavy, have you guys seen this dandelion seed? It's a very common seed. Yeah, the dandelion seed. Certain times you might have seen, like it is not cannot see it everywhere, but
Sir, I
in
haven't
certain
seen the seed, but I've seen the flower.
seen the flower. Okay, like in certain seasons, now the dandelion seeds would be floating in the air. We have observed that. So what happens here? That suppose if these seeds were to be very heavy, and if it were to fall at the same place where the plant is growing, so it will lead to crowding. The plant will be crowded, right? And if so many plants are growing at the same spot, so thereby the plants will be competing with each other for nutrition, for water, for sunlight, etc. So suppose if it was like this, Like it will be preventing overcrowding. How? If too many plants are growing at same place like this, so thereby all these plants will be competing with each other, isn't it, guys? They will be competing with each other for nutrients, for water, for sunlight. So their growth will not be proper. So thereby, seed dispersal is preventing the overcrowding. It prevents overcrowding of the plant because the seed will be dispersed from this location to another location. So new plant will be growing on a different location. It will be reducing the competition between them also, because if earlier all of them were to grow at the same spot, they will be competing with each other for all the necessary requirements. Plus it increases the genetic diversity. How does it increases the genetic diversity? Suppose these are two different places. This is place A and this is place B.
When the child grows, so it will grow beside the parent. Where will it grow? The child, the plant.
Where
So
will
where
it
will it grow? Yeah.
where will it grow? Basically, as it will be carried by the wind or the water, it will grow in a different place. From wherever it will get nutrition, from wherever it will germinate, there it will start growing.
Okay.
Okay. No? So say for example, in area A, only a single type of plant were growing, for example. Only one kind of plant were to grow from this on grow were growing on this place here. So suppose with the help of the seed dispersal, what happened? The seed of the dandelion plant, with the help of the wind came flowing over here. Okay, now with the help of the seed dispersal, the seed was dispersed from place B to place A. So thereby the dandelion plant will also start to grow here now, isn't it? So now this place A will have more diverse plants, more variety of plants will start grow here now, isn't it, guys? The variety of the variety of the vegetation in place A has changed now. So this is how it will be increasing the genetic diversity also. Getting at this point is clear to everyone or not? Yeah. So these are the benefits of the seed dispersal. These are benefits of seed dispersal. Plus it will also, plus what we have learned so far, basically how it will be increasing the diversity in a habitat now. Like plant of new species are introduced in this place A. A plant of new species has been introduced in place A, right? So thereby the biodiversity will increase here. Similarly, as different kind of plants will start to grow here, so thereby the diversity among the animals will also increase. Different kind of insects, microorganisms, they will also start to grow. Got this so far, everyone? No or no? Yes, Fatima and Rizan, you guys getting it now? How seed dispersal is beneficial?
Yes.
Okay, now also say, for example, if a plant were to grow in a place which is not very favorable for it. Suppose, for example, if there's a place in which a certain plant is growing, let's say, and that place is not favorable to that plant. This place is unfavorable, meaning that this place is not providing enough amount of nutrition, enough amount of water, sunlight to this plant. So as its seed will be carried to a new location, let's say that this is the seed of the plant, and if it were to carry to a favorable place, it is carried to a favorable place. So that plant will start to grow there in a better manner. Right now, that plant will start to grow over here in that place. Right. So that is also one important thing here. It will be allowing the plant to reach the habitat which has favorable conditions for survival. This place didn't have favorable condition, but this place has favorable conditions. So with seed dispersal, the seeds are growing now in a favorable condition. Okay, now that is one thing. So these are some of the advantages. Okay. Okay. Also, you guys know like ants also help in dispersal of the seed apart from all the different agents we have learned. Ants will
Yeah,
also be
how?
helping. Mhm.
How?
Yeah. you might have noticed that ants would be taking the seeds and they would be burying them under the soil, right? They will
Yeah.
bury the seeds under the ground. Suppose, for example, in a forest, we're learning about the role of ants here. Role of ants in seed dispersal and protecting the plant. Let us understand how. Suppose in a given area, for example, if there's a forest fire, and in that same area, the ants, what they have done now, they have buried the seeds under the soil. The seeds have been buried under the soil by the ants. So will the seeds be damaged with the forest fire if they are buried deep under the soil? Even if all the plants were to die because of forest, because of fire, so the seeds will remain unaffected as they have been buried by the ants under the
Ants.
soil. No, so in that manner they will be protecting the plant. Okay, no. So they can disperse the seed, although not to very long distances, but they will be dispersing it to short distances and they will be burying them underground. So which will be very helpful for the survival of the seeds under adverse conditions, like if there's forest fire or if there's a drought. If there's a drought or forest fire, thereby the seeds will be surviving in that situation. Why the ant will be doing so? Because the ant is basically taking it as a food for themselves now. Okay. So seeds will be protected in forest fire or any other natural hazards. So these are some of the benefits of the seed dispersal so far which we have discussed. If there's any question in this, please let me know.
No, sir.
Okay, now let's take a look at some of the special kind of seeds. We have learned about that some of the seeds of the plant would be exploding, right?
Yes, sir.
Also, you guys can take a look at this animation over here, right? So these are some of the seeds of the plant. They will simply burst open, and due to the as they will be as they will burst open, so the seeds will be spread over a wide area, right? So that is some examples. So there are some examples of the plants, like you have cucumber, some called as like a squirting cucumber is there, or like you have touch me not plant, that is also the mimosa pudica, right? So these are some of the examples, and the seeds can burst open because of several environmental factors. If, like for example, here you can see in this one particularly, as a raindrop has hit the seed, so it is bursting open, right? Or if the wind will be blowing at a very high speed, right? Or if the seed were to come in physical contact. Also here you guys can see here, as this the seed of this plant is coming. By the way, these two animations are of the same plant here. These two animations are of the same plant. Okay, now, so as we are touching the seed of this, as we are touching this plant now, so the seeds are bursting open. So due to physical contact, or due to rainwater, or for example due to the heavy wind blowing in that area, all of these can be a triggering factor. Okay, and because of this it will basically burst open. Got this now? So some of the examples, let me just write this, that is special case. Some of the plants have seeds which burst open due to triggering effects like due to wind, water, or basically rainwater, you can understand here, or physical contact. The examples of such plants are as follows. So the examples you can take as the touch me not plant. Touch me not is plant is the common name, right? But the scientific name is the Mimosa pudica. Mimosa pudica is the scientific name of this plant here. Just like we humans also have a scientific name, In scientific terms, we are called as Homo sapiens, right? Razan and Fatima, we are called as Homo sapiens. Okay, so every organism, just like humans, they have a scientific name. Okay, so the scientific name of this, where did Fatima went? So having some network issue. Razan, you getting it now? Okay. Other examples of the seeds that will be basically bursting open are the we have like balsam also. Balsam, this mimosa pudica, or sometimes you have the ladyfinger also, right?
Yes.
So the question is like, how will the ladyfinger plant will be bursting? How the seeds of the ladyfinger will burst open? Sometimes we see that when the ladyfinger when it dries up now, when a ladyfinger dries up, so after when it will dry too much now, then it will simply burst open. Okay, these are some of the special cases of the seeds. Now we are going to take a special look at why the banana is a fruit without a seed. So basically, why banana is seedless, right? Now, so there are several reasons for this, but main particular reason for this is now that the bananas are formed via a process called as parthenocarpy. The answer to this question is that it's parthenocarpy. Now you'd be wondering what is parthenocarpy. What we have learned that basically parthenocarpy now. In the case of the fertilization, what you guys have learned, like most of the fruits are formed after the fertilization of the flower, right? The fruits that we consume, that we eat, they are, how are they formed? Once the fertilization of the flower takes place, once the fertilization has taken place inside the flower, then only it converts into the fruit, isn't it? Right, Razan and Fatima? And in the process of fertilization, what all we have also seen that ovary converts into fruit and ovule converts into the seed.
Seeds.
Yeah. But here what is happening in this process, fertilization will fertilize, like the fruits will be formed without the fertilization. Basically parthenocarpy is basically it will occur without the fertilization of the flower. Got this, guys, what I'm trying to say?
Yes. But
Okay,
sir, is the process long?
is the process
Long.
no, it does. The question here is not whether it is long or whether it is fast. Okay, no, the main point of discussion here is that why it does not have seed. We can see that it's not a very long process. We can say, yeah, it is a short process, but we can't compare it on that basis whether it is long or short. Okay, the point of the discussion here is that it's a process of producing food without fertilization. So let me write an important point here, that parthenocarpy is the process of producing fruits without fertilization. And in the process of fertilization only we see that seeds will be formed now. In the process of fertilization, we have learned that seeds will be formed now, as you guys can see here. Ovule converts into the seed. But if a fruit is formed without fertilization, so then where's the question of the seed here? Right now? So this is produced without the fertilization, and that process is called as parthenocarpy. Okay. So certain kind of fruits, like for example, grapes. Do grapes have seeds? Most of the grapes we consume, they don't have seed, although there are certain variety of grapes that have seeds in them. Okay, but certain grapes, they don't have seeds in them. Bananas. Have you guys ever seen the seed of the pineapple?
Um,
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it because there are no seeds in the pineapple.
yeah, so
Okay, no,
there's no seeds in banana and pineapple.
exactly. So they are seedless fruits.
And this pineapple have the same method as the banana.
Exactly. That is also produced by the parthenocarpy. Okay, no. In fact, certain species of blackberries are also produced by the parthenocarpy. Okay, no.
Okay.
That is one thing. Okay. So, by the way, there are certain other reasons for why those plant will be produced via parthenocarpy. Why are they not able to do pollination? Yes, the answer is the pollination in them is limited. Pollination on them in them does not occur in the proper manner. Okay, na? That is one thing. Anyways, we are not going to go into that much of depth. So the examples of seedless fruits we have banana, we have pineapple. Okay, pineapple, or you can take examples of certain species of grapes also. So hope this much should be clear, and I hope this the doubt should be clear in this topic.
Yes.
Okay.
So, sir, are we supposed to do our like the small test in class right now? Like fill in the blanks, use
Yeah,
the
right. Right now we'll be doing these questions. Okay, now we'll be discussing this. Okay. Before that, let me put the screenshots in the chat box.
Sir, I actually joined from another device, so I can't save it.
You can't receive it.
Save it. Because
Why
I
is it
joined
so?
from a laptop, so I don't know how.
It is simple. I will help you how you can save it in your device. Okay, na?
Okay.
By the way, the last screenshot which I have put was did I put the screenshots of all these in the previous classes? Kindly remind me. This
Sir, let me check.
Rizan, you also let me know.
Sir, yes.
Yes, this one.
Yes, this as well. Sir, you didn't put the screenshot of the other one.
This one.
No, the other before this.
This one, no?
No, which
Oh,
had the.
wait a minute. This or this? This one.
Sir, the before that. Before?
This.
No, the other one.
Which one exactly you are saying?
Sir, can you go a little right here? This one in the 54.
Okay, that one you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Rizan, have you been preparing your notes?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Like which notes?
Notes for this chapter?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. Okay. Since only you two are here in the class, so we'll be doing it in the class only. No need to write the answer in the chat box. I will be appointing the questions, and accordingly, you guys will be answering. Okay.
Okay.
So question number 1, 3, and how many questions are there? 5, no? Okay, 5. These 3 questions, Fatima, you will be answering. And the remaining 3, Razan, you will be answering. The one I am ticking in the blue color. Second and the fourth. Start.
So do you have to be sending the chat box?
No, in the class only. Tell me the answer in the class. Also, hold your mic closer. I barely can hear you properly.
The blue one I
Sir,
should be?
Yeah, blue one you will be. Yes, Fatima?
sir, is the first one flower?
That is flower. Okay, na? You also take a look at this question. By the way, everyone will be looking at every question here. Okay, na? It's not like if I have given question number 1 to Fatima Razan, you will not be paying attention. That's not the case. Okay, you will also take a look at the question here. So which of the following is not a vegetative part of the plant? Leaf. New plants can be grown out of the leaves. An example of such plant is? Yes, an example of a plant that grows via the leaf from its leaves. Isn't it? Does it not start with B? Something like bryophyllum, yeah.
Bryophyllum.
So bryophyllum. What about the stem? Are there any plants that can be grown from its stem?
Mm.
Several examples are there.
Yeah, like say fruits, like vegetables, like that.
Whether it be fruit or whether it be vegetable, that doesn't matter. Basically, it should be a plant.
Tomato.
So beetroot.
Tomato.
No. Razan, repeat again and speak a little bit louder.
Tomato.
Repeat again. Tomato.
Tomato plant.
So
No,
potato.
no, no. Potato. No. Potato. What kind of a stem it is? Potato is the underground modified stem.
Underground modified stem.
Okay. And from root also, new plants can be grown. Yeah. Give an example.
Radish.
Radish.
Radish
Carrot.
and carrot.
So beetroot.
Okay. Beetroot. And then you have
Sweet potato.
sweet potato. Yeah, it is. It is, no? So we have sweet potato, radish, carrot. Okay, all of these are the underground modified roots. Okay. Okay, the next question is for you, Razan. The process, by the way, basically flower is the reproductive part of the plant, not the vegetative part. So therefore, that was the answer, as you have answered good. Yes. Next.
Fragmentation.
No,
Fragmentation.
no, that is not correct.
Sir, could you remind me what fragmentation is again?
Fragmentation is the process in which the organism will simply split into multiple parts, and each part will grow into new organism. Like in alga, it occurs now. Like if we had the example of
Okay.
Spirogyra. You guys take a look at this. Guess you guys will be able to recall this. Wait a minute. This one here. So that is the Spirogyra. It splits into multiple parts, and each part has grown into a new Spirogyra. So fragmentation occurs in alga. An example of alga is Spirogyra.
Spirogyra.
Okay.
Oh.
So and talking about the Mhm.
Fission. Fission.
No, fission is simply splitting into two parts. It occurs in bacteria. It occurs in protozoans like amoeba.
Am I? If Razan doesn't know, can I say it?
Yeah, sure.
So is it budding?
Yeah, it is budding, no? See, and yeast is a single cell fungi like this. A small bud will grow from it like this. This goes on to grow in size like this one. So that is budding. Okay, good.
Okay. Sir, you already explained me, so I would know the answer. Spirogyra.
That is Spirogyra. Good. Next question, Razan. Yes,
Two parents.
you were saying two parents.
No, one.
One parent, no?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yes. Next.
So is it sporocardium? Sporogium?
Sporangium. Yeah. Sporangium.
Sporangium?
Yeah. The bulb-like structure that you see, it contains so many spores in it. So
So
spores are
it's like
present.
stomata.
It's like stomata. No, we can't compare it with stomata. Okay, no? Because stomata, it's completely different thing. Okay, no? Stomata will be responsible. It will be containing chlorophyll in it, and it will be doing photosynthesis. But as for the spore, they are they are not photosynthetic. Okay, so there is no comparison between the two. Okay, so there are how many questions here? 6 questions are there actually. So I'm going to split into half for both of you. Okay, let's do one thing. Question number 1, 3, and the 5th one. Razan, you will be answering, and the remaining Fatima, you will be answering.
Sir, which one should I?
The one in the blue. The one I have taken the blue color. Sorry, the blue.
Vegetative parts of a plants are
Mhm.
roots, stems, and leaves.
Roots, stems,
Stems and leaves.
leaves. Very good. Root systems and leaves. Good. Next, Fatima.
So it's the flower and
Okay, and flower and the fruits.
flower and the roots.
Fruits.
Fruits, sorry.
Yes. So name the organs of plant body which help in sexual reproduction and which helps in vegetative propagation. Yeah. Meanwhile, Fatima, you can go on to answer question number 4.
Okay. So in a sexual reproduction on only one parent is there.
Okay. Like, question is not asking about the characteristics of the asexual reproduction. Question is asking about the different modes of asexual reproduction in the plants. Yes. Rizan, what about you? You got the answer for question number 3.
Does
Which part of the plant will be like helping in sexual reproduction?
does stigma count?
Part of the plant, when it talks about the part of the plant now, so it is talking about, is it a root, a stem, flower, or leaf? What is it?
Stem.
Isn't it obvious? It's talking about sexual reproduction in which two parents will be involved. The stem will be participating in asexual reproduction. No. Rizan, you answer question. Fatima, you answer question number A of 3.
So the ovary.
No. See, it's talking about name the organs of plant body. So what could be the organs of the plant body? Organs of plant body will be the flower, will be the
Flower,
leaf,
leaves,
stems,
stem,
roots,
roots.
etc. So out of flower, leaf, stem, root, which one will participate in sexual reproduction?
Flower.
Right now. So that
Yeah.
is very obvious, no?
Flower is the female part.
How can we say that it
No,
is the
sorry, no, not the female.
okay, no? Because a flower can have both the
Yeah.
male and female organs inside it, or it can be unisexual, meaning that it can
Yeah.
either only have female parts, that is the carpel or the pistil. Okay, no? Carpel, pistil, both are same words used for the female reproductive system of the flower, or it can either only have the male part, that is stamen. Okay.
Yes.
As for the vegetative propagation, which parts will take place? Which parts will participate?
Sir, can you tell what is vegetative propagation?
Vegetative propagation is the method of asexual reproduction in plants in which new plants will be grown from the vegetative parts like leaf, stem, roots, etc. Okay. So which organ of the plant body will participate in vegetative propagation? Roots, stems,
and leaves.
leaves. Got this now? Okay. Yes. You answer question number 4, Fatima.
Yes, sir, I answered it.
No, I haven't said the answer.
Oh, the answer?
For question number 4.
Okay.
The very first mode of asexual reproduction which we have discussed in the class, was it not vegetative propagation? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Haven't we learned about vegetative propagation, in which we have learned about all forms of vegetative propagation that can occur via leaf, via stem, the normal stem or the modified stem or the roots, right now? So we had
Yeah.
learned about that now. So
So it's like fusion, fragmentation, and stuff.
exactly.
And Spores formation, budding.
Exactly. That will also be counted in this now. In particularly in vegetative propagation, we can write about some of the vegetative propagation which we have learned. So we have learned about like layering, stem cutting, right? Or simply called as cutting. We have also learned about grafting, isn't it, guys? So grafting was there. Tissue culture, we did learn about this. Tissue culture, plus we learned about the runners also, no? Like strawberry, grasses, all of these, those were the examples of the runners, etc.
Yes.
Other will include fragmentation. So in which plant-like organism fragmentation occurs? In the alga now.
In the
Alga.
under.
So it occurs in alga, and alga are also plant-like organisms. Why we are calling alga as also plant-like organism? Because they can also photosynthesize. They can also perform photosynthesis. Getting it now? Okay. You were mentioning some other modes also. Yes, Fatima, come go on.
Yes, sir.
Like
Uh, spores formation,
spore formation, good.
vegetative propagation.
We had already written that, no?
So that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, okay, you said that. Okay. What about budding? Budding occurs, no? Budding occurs in
Yeah.
them, fragmentation, spore formation, etc. All of these are some of the examples. These are different modes of asexual reproduction. Okay. As for the spore formation, we had particularly some examples like fern and mosses. Fern and mosses, as if I suppose you guys can recall this one. Take a look at this slide here. Fern and mosses, they have a spore in them. Okay, moving on to next question. Yes, the next question was for you, Razan.
Yes, plants can be multiplied artificially with the help of vegetative parts. Because if you cut a part of a plant from the stem and place it in another area also, it can grow.
Okay, and
And
it is asking to provide list of some of common methods of artificial vegetative propagation.
like how?
Artificial, Razan, I can barely hear you properly. Artificial here means when it will be done by the humans. Okay, when there will be an
Yeah,
intervention of the humans here.
like when we cut the stem and place it in another area, it can grow, right?
Okay, okay, cutting. Okay, cutting and
Um, taking seed of a plant and planting it.
so that is not a vegetative propagation, no? Vegetative propagation involves the growth of a new plant from vegetative parts of the plant, like from leaf, stem, root. Getting it now? So we have, okay, Fatima, you go on. You tell me the some of the common artificial vegetative propagation methods.
Um,
See, while we were learning about vegetative propagation, I told you that it will be classified into two types: natural vegetative propagation and artificial vegetative propagation. For the artificial vegetative propagation, what I said to you guys, that there will be a human intervention. We humans will be doing it ourselves. Like cutting was an example, like a rose, right? The stem of the rose plant is cut and then is put into the soil, and a new rose plant grows out of it. Grafting, haven't we learned about that? Grafting was there, right? Grafting is there, tissue culture was there. So all these were different artificial vegetative propagations which we had learned about now.
yes.
Okay, it is very important that you guys revisit the notes of the classes. Okay, you guys seem to have forgot some of the fundamental things we have discussed. Okay, question number 3, I'm going to split into two parts for you guys. Okay, question number 3, A and C, Razan, you're going to explain, and B and D, you're going to explain, Fatima.
Okay.
Start.
So B and D, right?
B and D. B and D.
Okay.
Budding means like to multiply a plant. Like yes. And fragmentation means
No, not in that manner, Razan. We can't simply say that it means multiplying of the plant, because plants multiply in various other ways, no? So how can we simply specify it to the process of budding only? See, in this budding, what happens? There will be a small outgrowth. There will be a small projection on the parent body. And that small projection, a small tissue that forms on the parent body is called as a bud, right? Take, for example, in the case of yeast, what we have learned that this is a yeast cell. So initially there will be a small outgrowth. Okay, now this small outgrowth that you are seeing here, that is called as a bud. Okay, and this is the parent yeast. This is the parent body. If on the parent body, there will be a small projection. There will be a small projection on the parent body, which we are going to call as bud. Okay. So in this process, there's a daughter individual, or there's a daughter organism, which is formed as a small projection on the parent body, which you are calling as bud. It will it will grow in size, and later on it will detach from the parent organism. So that is how budding occurs. Okay, Razan?
okay, sir.
And for fragmentation, okay, take your time, take your time. Fatima, you start. Explain the method of fission.
So fission occurs in lower plants. So, like example is like bacteria.
Bacteria is not a plant.
Mm.
Yes.
So in this process, the cells are divided.
Yes. Into how many parts? Into two parts, no, simply?
2 parts, yeah.
Right. It will be simply divided into 2 parts, and each part will start to grow individually. It will start to grow separately. So it's a process in which basically a cell will split up into 2 identical cells. Got this, no? So that is one thing. Okay. Next, you continue, Suzanne.
It is a process in which the body of a plant gets cutted into smaller fragments.
And each fragment grows into a new plant.
Yeah.
Well done. And an example of an organism that does fragmentation is? Yes. Fatima?
Yes, sir.
Give an example of an organism that grows via fragmentation. We have learned about this already in the today's class. Does it start with S? Something like a spiro, yeah?
Spiro.
Yes, Shazan. It's Spirogyra. Spirogyra. Okay. So that is a Spirogyra, which is an alga. Okay. Okay. Explain the last one quickly, Fatima. Yes.
Sir, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, let me help you in this one. See, there are some plants like fern and moss, on which on the body of the fern and moss, the formation of a spore takes place. The spore formation takes place, right? And spores are basically small spherical bodies that will be participating in asexual reproduction. So when the spores will be landing on favorable, when it will get favorable conditions, okay,